10 NBA records that will not be broken anytime soon. Bill Russell's 11 championships. Russell and the Boston Celtics dominated the NBA from 1957 to 1969, winning 11 titles in 13 seasons. The NBA had a much different landscape in the 1950s and 60s, which helped Russell and the Celtics. Teams only had to win 2 series to win the championship until the 1965-66 season, when it became 3 series. The changing playoff format, in addition to increasing parity and players not sticking with teams their entire careers, all contribute to this being an untouchable record. The most rings for a player who wasn't on the Celtics dynasty is Robert Hori, with 7 NBA Finals wins. Who's come closest to Russell in the modern era? No, not Michael Jordan, 6, or Kobe Bryant, 5. The answer is Robert Hori, a role player on 7 championship teams in Houston, Los Angeles, and San Antonio. Most points in a single game. Chamberlain had 6 career games with 70 or more points, and no other player in league history has had more than 1. None were more impressive than his 100-point effort on March 2, 1962 against the New York Knicks. In the 3rd season of his NBA career, Chamberlain earned attention for himself and the league by making 36 of 63 field goals and 28 of 32 free throws. The next closest single-game scoring total has been Kobe Bryant's 81-point performance on January 2, 2006. Averaging 45.8 minutes per game. If you follow the NBA, you know that they play 48 minutes a game, which means that Wilt Chamberlain played in every minute, including overtime, during the 1961-62 season. Well, almost every minute. Chamberlain missed 8 minutes during one game after being ejected, but still played in 99.8% of his team's minutes. Chamberlain was a notorious stat chaser, so he wanted this record, and he got it. The top 7 spots in minutes per game in NBA history are all held by Chamberlain, and the 2010-11 season was the last one that anyone averaged more than 40 minutes per game, when Monta Ellis averaged 40.3. 118 50-point games. So many Wilt Chamberlain records are related to scoring, but this mark is more unreachable than even his 100-point game. Chamberlain had 118 50-point games, which is nearly 4 times as many as the player with the second most, Michael Jordan, 31. Wilt the Stilt actually had more 50-point games in one season, 45 in 1961-62, than any other player has had in their entire career. Since we're on the number 50, we might as well state that no one else is touching Chamberlain's mark for highest scoring average in a season. He averaged 50.4 points per game in 1961-62, and no other player has even averaged 40 points per game in a season. 108 points scored by a team on halftime. The 1990-91 Phoenix Suns were the 4th highest scoring team in the NBA and averaged 114 points per game. But on November 10, 1990, they nearly reached that average in the first half alone, scoring a record 107 points against the Denver Nuggets, who allowed the most points per game. The Suns scored 50 points in the first quarter and then somehow topped that with a staggering 57 points in the second. They led 107-67 at halftime, and the game wasn't even as close as the score indicated. The Nuggets clipped the deficit slightly in the second half as Phoenix scored just 66 points after the break and won the game 173-143. The 173 points tied the 1959 Boston Celtics for the most points scored by a team in a non-overtime game. 136 consecutive games with 100-plus points by a team. For nearly 2 calendar years in the early 1980s, the Denver Nuggets scored at least 100 points in every single game. That streak, which started on January 21, 1981 and ended December 8, 1982, lasted 136 games and came during the NBA's era where defense was optional. The Nuggets, coached by Doug Moe, went 74-62 during this streak, and while they made the playoffs during it and scored 100+, they never won a playoff game during the streak. The second longest 100-plus point streak is 117 games held by the equally defensive aversive Spurs just a few years earlier. There hasn't been a streak longer than 37 games in the last 25 years. 15,806 career assists. John Stockton has the most career assists in NBA history, 15,806, and holds the all-time steals mark, 3,264. But he has a little more distance between himself and second place, Jason Kidd, 12,091, with the assist record. Stockton led the league in both total assists and assists per game for 9 straight years. He also holds the top 4 single-season assist marks. And compared to when Stockton played, offenses are run differently now. There are multiple ball handlers on each team instead of just one person dominating the ball. A notable exception is James Harden, but his highest assist season is 907, while Stockton had 9 seasons with more assists than that. 1,192 straight games. There is a reason Green garnered the nickname of Iron Man, and his consecutive games played streak is exactly why he got it. To put it into perspective, Green's 1,192 straight means he played approximately 14.5 straight seasons without missing a single game. No injuries, no personal time off, nothing but pure basketball and dedication to the game. For more than 14 NBA seasons, he endured nightly punishment as a rugged power forward, yet never missed a game for any reason. Green is better known for being a self-proclaimed virgin throughout his career, another record that probably won't be broken. 88 games played in a single season. Just reaching 82 games played in a season is cause for celebration in today's NBA, but Hall of Famer Walt Bellamy had fortuitous timing to play in 88 games during the 1968-69 season. Obviously, Bellamy didn't play in that many games with one team. A mid-season trade enabled him to reach that total. He played in each of the Knicks' first 35 games of the season and was then traded to the Detroit Pistons, who had only played 29 team games when he joined them. That difference of 6 enabled Bellamy to add 6 games to his schedule and reach 88 total. The rules regarding trades were much less stringent in the 60s, and players could play immediately after landing with a new team. Now with trades, every single player involved in the trade has to pass their physical before any of the players can suit up, which often causes delays and missed games. 20 free throws without a make. St. Louis Bombers' Giff Rue, who played 151 games, unfortunately had his name in the NBA record books for this hilarious act of sport inefficiency. It was during a playoff game in the 1947-1948 season. Rue earned 20 calls to the lines, and he missed all 20. The Bombers lost the match by 4 points difference. If Rue had made effective use of his free throws, Bombers would have emerged victorious in that game. 29 minutes in a game without any points, rebounds, assists, steals, or blocks. Popularly referred to as Club Trillion for players who made no impact or recorded no stat on the court, Joel Anthony earned his name in the NBA record book for just that. Not something to emulate, however, it's quite a record. In the Miami Heat win against the Trailblazers in 2011, Anthony made no statistical impact. No points scored, no assists, steals, rebounds, or blocks. He was just present on the court, ceaselessly running for 29 minutes. Well, to be honest, this is a hell of a record to break, considering the current fast-paced game where every player is involved. Career points scored. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's ability to put the ball in the hoop was unlike anyone else, literally. His size, skill, and athletic ability made him an elite scorer for most of his career. Then that unstoppable skyhook allowed him to keep pouring points into his 40s. By the time he was done after 20 seasons, he'd put up a number only Karl Malone, 36,928, has approached since. Despite all the great scorers who have played the game, it's probable nobody is going to challenge the legendary big man for the top spot in this category. Michael Jordan scored just 32,292 points in his historic career, and despite all the efforts from Kobe Bryant, he also fell 7,000 points short. That is it for today's video, and do share your point feedback in the comments below, and also let me know if you think of NBA records other than these which are unbreakable.